You know that specific feeling of panic when the adrenaline finally just
Uh,
crashes? You've launched the campaign or maybe kicked off a big ministry season, and suddenly all the excitement is gone.
and you're just running on fumes.
Exactly, running on fumes, but you feel this massive pressure to keep the mask on because if you stop, you think everything will fall apart.
That is the classic middle mile. And honestly, that's where things get dangerous. It's that stretch between the launch party and the finish line where the grind really sets in.
It feels like a trap.
Uh,
But today, we're actually looking at a kind of survival guide for that exact moment.
we are.
We're doing a deep dive into Finish Strong,
Yeah.
leadership that lasts from the FaithFlow series. It's pitched as a framework of grace for leaders, but I have to ask, is this just another self-help book telling me to, breathe more?
I get that. I was skeptical too, but it's surprisingly tactical. It's written for the candidate, the spouse, the leader who's just drowning in that middle mile.
Mm.
It doesn't give you slogans. It gives you triage tools. The whole argument is that boundaries aren't barriers to your success. They're actually the only way you'll survive long enough to succeed.
Okay, let's get tactical then. I saw a tool in the book called the Spotlight Strategy.
Right.
It sounds a bit like marketing jargon, but the application seemed almost brutal in a good way.
It is brutal because it forces you to kill your darlings. It's a weekly filter where you sort every single task into 3 buckets. Stop, slow down, or stay the course.
And most leaders are great at stay the course.
Of course, and we're okay at slow down, but stop.
That's the terrifying one. I mean, telling a campaign manager you're just stopping something, that feels like failure.
But the book argues that's the wrong way to look at it. If a task drains you and brings 0 return, continuing it is the actual failure.
It's an energy audit, not just a time audit.
Exactly. If you don't have limits, you won't last.
And that idea seems to bleed right into the faith component of this. The text uses a phrase I hadn't really seen before, rest as resistance. Usually we hear about rest as recovery.
Yeah.
Charge the batteries so you can work more. This sounds different, more militant.
It is. It's completely countercultural. In a hustle culture, refusing to grind is an act of defiance.
Active defiance. I like that.
The source material points to the story of the prophet Elijah. He's fresh off this huge spiritual victory, but then he just collapses under a tree, begging to die. He's totally burnt out.
The really interesting part there is God's response. He doesn't send Elijah a new strategic plan or a motivational poster.
No, he gives him a snack and a nap.
Literally. Food, water,
Right.
and sleep.
Yeah. And the takeaway is that sometimes the most spiritual thing you can possibly do is just shut your eyes. They also pair this with something called a crisis response map.
What's that?
It's a tool to help you separate facts from fear when you're under fire, so you don't internalize all the criticism.
So you can be under attack without being destroyed by it. Now, this book isn't a standalone thing, right? It connects to the wider FaithFlow system.
That's what.
And I wanted to ask about the spiritual gifts connection. Usually those tests tell you what work to do, not how to rest.
This was the aha moment for me. The bonus section argues that rest isn't one size fits all. So, for example, if you have care, gifts like mercy or shepherding.
You absorb other people's pain.
Exactly. So your rest needs to be solitude. It has to be away from people.
Whereas if I have truth gifts like administration or discernment,
Then your exhaustion probably comes from decision fatigue. So your rest isn't just about being alone. It needs to be an activity where you don't have to make a single choice.
so you're tailoring your boundaries to how you're actually wired.
That's the whole idea.
They even included a companion song and a little flip book, The Leader Who Lasted. It seemed like a bit much at first, but I guess when you're burnt out, reading a dense chapter is the last thing you can do.
That is precisely the point. When you're in that middle mile, your brain is fried. Sometimes you need a melody or a simple picture to remind you that the goal isn't just winning.
It's about crossing the finish line with your soul intact.
Yes, that's the big shift. We think the goal is the win.
But the book says the goal is the finish.
Right. It quotes Hebrews 12.1, run with endurance. It's a marathon. You don't have to carry the weight of the world, and you certainly don't have to lose yourself to serve well.
That's a heavy topic, but a really necessary check-in. So here's something to chew on before you go. If you won your race or achieved your goal tomorrow, but you arrived at the finish line completely empty, would you still consider it a success?
Thanks for diving in.